Well, hummingbirds off the deep end here at the Jägermeister workbench, Dave.
We're going way off the deep end.
And phew, man, Amberjacks, they will make you want to jump off the deep end.
I'll tell you, one of the first trips I took as an editor for Sport Fishing magazine, I think, I was down in Key West, and we were in 400 feet of water off an old submarine wreck there, and we were fishing for amberjack. And I think the fourth one I hooked, I told the mate, I said, oh, I'm on the bottom. And I handed it to him. He goes, oh, no, you got a fish. And I go, oh, no, I don't. You got the fish, man. Because the fourth one was plenty for me. They were all between 80 and 100 pounds in 400 feet of water. And that was back in the day, you know, when there was a lot more amberjack around. There was a huge commercial push on amberjacks in the early 90s to the mid 90s, and it really hammered the population for a while. And it was very easy to go out and catch 80 to 90, even 100-pound amberjacks on a lot of the wrecks. Now they're starting to get back to the way they used to be. The commercial thing has gone down a little bit. But you know, any place where you go fishing in 60 feet of water or more, and there's some wrecks or a reef down there, and you go over that wreck or reef, and you see that little chevron above the wreck, you know that you're going to be in for trouble. And usually the first indication that you have that there's amberjacks, besides seeing them on the sounder, is if you hook anything on the bottom and you try to bring it up, it gets eaten. And it's either a shark or an amberjack. Right. And it gets to the point where you can't get a lot of the fish that you're trying to catch on the bottom up through the amberjack if there's a lot of them there.
Let me ask you, is there a secret to taking your baits to get them past the amberjack to get to a grouper?
Well, you can. You can put a big weight on them and sling them down as fast as you can. You can put a free spool and sometimes you'll spin up. But if you put a nice couple swivels on there and just rocket it to the bottom with a big chunk of weight and have a breakaway weight, you can sometimes crush through them through that.
So is that a myth? I heard about guys taking paper bags and putting their bait in the paper bag.
Oh, I've never heard of that, but I couldn't imagine why it wouldn't work.
You mean the inshore guy going to tell you how to do something?
It might not. Yeah, it might work. It'll keep.
He'll make a note to himself.
It'll keep them from seeing it, because if they see that live bait, that's what triggers the strike. And all the stuff that we use that isn't a live bait, mimics a live bait. Any of the jigs, the Shimano jigs, the butterfly jigs, the Williamsons, any of these jigs will work on both the grouper and the amberjack. If the amberjack are there, like I said, you drop that sucker all the way to the bottom and you just boom, 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 as fast as you can up through the water column. If you get halfway up and you don't get a bite, drop it again. Right. And you just keep doing the same thing, and you're going to get piled on. Now, when you're using a live bait, you're going to want to use a real strong, I like to use circle hooks for everything now, because I'm usually letting amberjacks go. Patty likes to eat them. I don't care for them to eat, especially when they get really big. The bigger they are, the less you want to eat them. So the small guys you might want to keep and eat. And the small guys you can actually get up on the surface when you're chumming. If you get on an area,
shallow wrecks in the
those
Gulf.
Little guys will come up and they'll eat these plugs, and that's when the fun starts.
Yeah, you get to watch them.
You get to watch them eat, and that's the best thing about using topwater plug for any species, is you get to watch them bite. But for amberjacks, and most jackfish in particular, the strikes on the surface are spectacular, and the fight is going to be just brutal. They do not give up, and so you're going to want to use a good belt. AFCO makes a ton of belts, and a shoulder harness. Now, we were just down in Miami the other day, and the fishing was a little slow when we were doing our Marlin University. So Ray Rocher and the boys were saying, "Hey, let's get the girl, fitted up and have her catch a amberjack." And they got this frail little girl. She probably weighed 110 pounds, and they had her all jacked up and all this stuff. And I'm going, this is a recipe for disaster, because we had a bait this big, and I knew the amberjack that was going to eat it was going to crush her, and sure enough, it crushed her. But that's just one of the things that's good about the amberjack. They're very prevalent, they're very big, and they're not picky. When you find them, you're going to get them.
They've saved a lot of charter boats.
It's a day saver.
Yeah,
it's the day saver.